Welcome to the Raven's Call. My name is Eric Wordweaver Shervin. I'm Goalie of the Ridgar Folk here in East Texas. And I'm going to share just a little bit of a rant today, something that bothers me in modern times that I thought I'd share with the world. Not everybody's going to see eye to eye with me. That's okay. That doesn't bother me any. Matter of fact, I've had a lot of conversations on this particular subject, and a lot of people don't see eye to eye with me, and that's okay. Still going to put it out there in case anybody is indeed interested. If y'all want to have a fight, flame war in the comments, whatever, go ahead. Here's the deal, okay? The subject of the day is reductionism in modern heathenry. Reductionism, for the uninitiated, is the tendency to reduce things, obviously by the name, the title, is to reduce things to a common core and to shuffle away extraneous aspects of things. The idea from an academic standpoint is that you're trying to get down to the core root of something, the beginning of something, and to kind of shave off the excess, okay? I get that. I totally get that. I understand its point and purpose within an academic setting, especially in archaeological exploration, etc., etc., etc. And in a hardcore reconstructionist aspect of heathenry, I understand why its appeal is so great. I really do. I'm not a hardcore reconstructionist, so I'm going to let that go. Here's the deal. It's easiest, I guess, for me to give you some examples of reductionism in heathenry today, like I see it. For example, there is the tendency to try and reduce Freya and Frigga into one goddess, one great goddess of the North. Matter of fact, I just got done reading a book entitled Freya, the Great Goddess of the North, which spends an inordinate amount of time postulating that very same thing, that Freya and Frigga together make two halves of one great goddess. This bothers me. I'll explain why in a second. I saw another postulate today on Trollham, the internet, wherein a gentleman posited the theory that Tyr and Thor were the same individual. That went through me for a loop, too. Now, I've seen the numerous conversations and numerous attestations over the years that the gods and goddesses are only archetypes, or that they're all aspects of Odin as the greater god, the All-Father, and that all the other gods are simply Odin in different masks. That's BS. I'm not down with that one. Not my hall, not my call. If that's how you do things at home, cool. More power to you. Just not how I do things within my tribe. Now, I am what they call a hard polytheist, okay? A hard polytheist is someone who believes that each and every one of the gods and goddesses is individual, sacred. That they are gods and goddesses and complete individuals. They are not tied to nor aspects of some greater entity, some greater god or goddess. That gets into what I call soft polytheism. Soft polytheism sees the gods and goddesses as aspects of a greater god or goddess, usually down to a duality of god and goddess, male and female aspects, which, if you continue to explore the idea, actually come back to a singular godhead, that the god and goddess are actually just aspects of the singular godhead. That's why I call it soft polytheism. It's not truly polytheistic. It's monotheistic with the singular godhead expressing itself through multiple genders and multiple entities. Okay? Now, a lot of people that lean this way, it's not my bag, okay? I am definitely a hard polytheist. I see all the gods and goddesses as individuals. I see them greater than the material world in which we exist, far beyond our comprehension and understanding. Which is why I don't see the need for reductionism. Now, I do see the need for reductionism in, say, if you're going to try and route everything back to its Proto-Indo-European root and try to discover where things come from. A good friend of mine is a Thadesman, and he spends a great deal of his time doing that, and he comes up with some very interesting insights. I get it, but he and I differ in one thing. He sees things as though at the time of creation, when the gods and goddesses created the world, and they created mankind in sacred time, thus setting into place profane time, the world in which we live, profane space and time, that the image of the gods and goddesses at that point in time was as pure as it's ever going to be. That was our moment of primary interaction, and that everything exists there in sacred time, separate from profane time. some of this gets very deep theological. We go on for hours, especially when we've been drinking. But anyway, the gist being, to boil it down into very layman terms, that our ancestors at the beginning knew the gods and goddesses better than we ever would, and that for the rest of time, all we have done is forget aspects of them. And that by doing the hardcore Reconstructionism, they go back and try to recreate and regrasp those things to get as close to the original primary vision as they could. Okay, I get this. I completely understand it. It's not how I see things, but I get it. I completely get where he's coming from. The way I see things is that, yes, they put things into motion. The gods and goddesses created the world and set us out into the world. And then for the rest of our time together, yes, we have been chasing that primary vision that we got of them in the creation. But we have spent the rest of our lives getting to know them better. To spend time trying to find ways to access them, to reach them, to commune with them. And that not everything was written down in the old days, that our ancestors did not know everything. Okay? I think they knew a lot of things right, and I think that we need to, again, with my metaphor of heathenry as the tree, rooted in tradition and growing towards new growth, I definitely think that in the olden days, in the arch-heathen times, that they had things dialed down as far as being able to access the gods and really engage in that luck exchange. So a lot of the practices, I completely get. How they see the gods and goddesses, though, I'm a little bit more leaning towards the way I see things now, which, yes, is a later interpretation of things. No, I'm not trying to recreate Viking Age anything. I actually take a lot from the Viking Age as inspiration for what I do, but it's not all that I do, and it's not the only source of information for me. So I utilize that, and I utilize a number of other aspects to bring together my view of things. So my stance is that I see that we have continued to get to know the gods and goddesses throughout the years, throughout generations, and that we have grown in our understanding. And that by engaging in too much reductionism in modern time for anything more than academic purposes leads to shaving off the elements of our culture, the depth and breadth of our belief system and our mythology, and leaves us with even less of a picture of the gods and goddesses than we have now, which is limited to begin with because so little actually survives. For instance, take a look at the lore. There's a strong push to push certain elements of the lore out. You know, of course, we've got the whole debate of Snorri Sturluson and his prose Edda being heavily influenced by Christianity, syncretism, etc., 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 and a lot of it being completely written off. I know a lot of hardcore Reconstructionists will only view archaeological digs or literature sources of contemporaries as contemporary as possible. Venerable Bede, Saxo Grammaticus, things like that. And trying to build specifically from those things because it's hard to set. And I get that. I completely get that. That is good science. That's good archaeology. That's good sociology. That's how you do things. You cast out that which has been contaminated, and you focus more on the things that you know are still good, that you know have not been contaminated, which I understand and I completely I get. However, I do not see heathenry as simply a study of the olden ways. I see heathenry as the living, breathing thing today, and to discount insights into the gods and goddesses that we have gotten in later years, even to discount myths, legends, and stories that were added in the later years, I think cheats us in a lot of ways. I do think that humanity is capable of divine insight in our later years, and that some of the mythology that has grown up in the later years could possibly have been influenced through divine insight. Again, another conversation for another day. Anyway, rambling aside, the gist of this particular video is just to put out there, think about it as you go out through your daily lives, figure out where you stand on things. Anytime these conversations pop up about Freya and Frigga are the same person, that Tyr and Thor were once the same person, that everyone's an aspect of the All-Father, explore what you really think about it. You know, recognize that this is reductionism at play and figure out how you feel. Everybody's going to feel a little bit differently. Everybody's going to look at things slightly differently. And that's okay. That's how heathenry grows. That's how we figure things out. It's how we debate and we begin to gain a deeper understanding of our own stances and our own ways of doing things. I'm willing to bet this video and my little tirade has you going, well, yeah, but. And that's a good thing because that's got you thinking. And that's what I've set out to do with this, just to get people thinking. Do I say that I'm right about everything? No. Oh, no, 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 no. I am not. Am I some font of knowledge that is like the end-all, be-all of heathen insight? Nope. Not even close. I am still learning the same as the rest of y'all. The only thing I like to do is think deep and throw things out there to get people thinking outside the box and to keep us from getting trapped in what I call a spiritual crystallization, wherein everything becomes a finite form and, again, a form of reductionism. And that's something that I can do another video on a later time. But anyway, that's it for today. Rant over. Go out, take a look at where you see reductionism today in heathenry, and figure out your own stance. You know, kick in some comments. Let's see what everybody else has to say. If you like these videos, you like what you see and what you hear, give us a subscribe. Hit a like down there for me, and I promise I will continue to work on improving the quality and. Because I'm seeking a microphone and a couple of other things that'll help to kind of reduce the shaky cam element and to improve the auditory. I'm also exploring some of the aspects that I can do in fixing things in post. So we'll see where this goes. Thank you all. Have a good day.